There we go.
Hey, there it is.
Don, it's great to have you here. Don's been using this program for quite a number of years. I have it running here sporadically, depending on how often I blow up or give out my IC 7300. And you may find that this is a lot easier to do than some other programs. So over to you, Don.
All right, good evening, guys. We're going to talk about the remote hams. It's a pretty simple program, not as sophisticated setting up as some of that one up at days and stuff, but it does work pretty well. So we're going to talk about how to set it up for the server side if you want to put your station on and as a client. So I use it. Well, why do we use remote? This time with the COVID and stuff, it's kind of self-explanatory. I use this program because it's simple. It's all in one package as far as antenna switching, rotor, amps, etc. And it works pretty well with a modest internet connection. You do get a pretty low latency time, which is a plus. And only having one program running keeps your CPU up. So it's nice to have it all in one package. On this main screen here, you can see I'm hooked to a station in Eastern Washington, and I have a delay latency of 12 milliseconds. And station out there is running on DSL. He's not very fast. Okay, Charlie. So we're going to talk about the user setup. Download the program.
That's the client, right?
Yeah, the remote side, the user side. How to find the stations and request the permission and etc.
Okay.
All right, so here's where you would is the website, remotehams.com. That's where you go to download it, and you would click on the RCForb client to download it.
Right. So they have there's four software packages there. One is the alpha or the beta user program, the client end, the guy who's not at the RF base. The middle one is the most robust user software for the non-RF side, the remote user. And then the bottom one is the server. That's the one at the RF base.
Yeah, always try to go with the stable version, not the beta. Yeah, you can skip the next one.
Yep.
All right, here, once you have the program downloaded, you have to upload your license so everybody knows that you are actually a licensed ham. So here you would go to your account. You have to make an account with your email and password and stuff. And you would upload a copy of your license to the remote ham server. Go ahead. Once you get the license uploaded and everything, this is the client dashboard. This is where everybody puts their radio out to use.
So this is where you would look for a remote station to operate on.
Correct. So you can see it as KF4LZA carries 4 remotes throughout Florida. It's water for Shirley and stuff. So there's a lot of remote. There's mainly right around 300 on at a time. Okay. So there's 4 different ways to sort out the remotes. There's RX only, so the operator can, the owner can just set it up so you can just listen, or you can get TX available. You can have it set up as a club, which is how mine is set up. or you can just set it up as a non-club station.
Right. As contest club members, you may find that you'll have more than a couple of users, and setting it up as a club, but restricting its use is the best way to go. And Don will touch on that. Next screen.
Yeah, I mean, I have 48 users on my station at a time, so this here is just showing you the different categories and it tells you how many stations are listed per category, so you can get an idea of which way you want to go. Once you get into the station, into the remote, most of them, I'm going to say 95%, you're going to have to request permission to use the radio, which is smart. There is some guys have their station wide open where anybody can use it. Once you get into it, you're going to get this. As soon as you try to hit a button, or it'll automatically pop up, and you'll request permission to use the radio. Sometimes that'll take a couple of days, or sometimes it's within 2 minutes you'll have the permission. Go ahead, Charlie. All right, so once you get the permission, every remote is going to be set up differently. The owner of the station, they're going to list the rules that they want. Some will say no digital work, some's no CW, some's restricted to certain bands. So it's all up to the owner of the station what he wants to do with it. A lot of station owners, you can ask them to run the station as into a contest, and most of them will let you do that.
Right. So, some of us plan to use these remotes to let people that help us with our stations or our friends to use it, and also to use it during a contest to either create a multi-op or a
multi-single.
Yeah, multi-single, or multi-multi, or just let a friend operate while you're home safe away from COVID.
Right. So once you get into it, you're gonna have to pick your sound card devices, set up your mic volume, and all that on your computer. Just like you would, if you were setting up the radio straight out of the box.
Yeah, and we did this with a USB printer cable, and it really goes quickly when you're working with someone who has done it before, like Don or I. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, it took us about 10 minutes to get Will up and running.
Yep.
With this program, it allows you a virtual COM port, so you can emulate a COM port, and that'll come in a little bit further down the line. But if the station does allow it, I have it set up here on mine. You can connect MM or whatever.
Whoops.
Oh.
I don't know what happened there, fellas.
F5.
Yeah, I know. I just want to get back to where we was.
Stream 12.
Yeah. Okay. Whoop. Sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. So what if they have the emulating COM port? Doing something. You can connect your logbook, MM, DX log, or whatever you use, and you have full control of that radio through the logbook, just as you would locally at your own station. Some do allow digital operations, so FT8 or Gritty. You will have to use VACs, some virtual audio cables, for that to work through the remote system. Okay, Charlie.
Okay. So this is Don's station. He's got a rotor connected up in the bottom right. He's got an antenna switch using a USB relay board. You can ground out the station, go to his vertical, go to his 80-meter vertical, go to his inverted L, go to his 6-meter beam, go to his Mosley Yagi. You can watch the latency right across this bar right here. And it's a generic picture of a radio, and you have full control. Down here is some CW memories if you're not using the virtual COM port COM21 to run a program at your station to control the radio. And then the users that are logged in will be listed here.
And then up top.
Go ahead, Don.
Well, up top is where you're going to select your audio device.
Yeah.
You know, so your sound card, and set up your audio levels. Okay.
Okay. Next.
Next one. All right, this is just showing what Charlie just went over. This is on mine where you can pick what intensity you want to use, along with the rotor control. I don't have an amp hooked up on it right now. That's going to be changing in about 2 months. So once that's done, you're going to see an Expert 1.3 in that box.
Okay.
Through the YCCC, you can external devices. So you can hook through an iPad, but a tablet, Android tablet. They have no iOS apps for this yet. And kind of like how Jim has this set up with the remote rig boxes, they have this set up here. You can plug in your microphone, your paddle, anything you want, and it'll just be like you're sitting at home with your key.
Plus, you've got yours with a cell phone app, right?
Android carries a cell phone app for it. Seen it, I've tried it out on Dave W2DAN system, and it works pretty well.
Yep.
I wish they would write something for iOS. So what's needed to start out? Basic headset and microphone, pretty much just like any other remote station. This program, it's got built-in CW here, or if it is emulating and you have your macro set up through MM, you can do it that way. And that's pretty much it for the user side. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Mm-hmm.
Questions on the client setups?
That's pretty much it. You download the software, upload your license, you find a remote you want to use, or if you're in coordination with a base station that already exists, you do the club permission, you do the license, he grants you access, you're a user. Ta-da!
You're on the air.
Yep.
Takes about a good couple hours, you could be on the air.
Yep. So the server side, where the base RF radio is, well, it takes about a little bit more work, but not too much. Go ahead, Don.
No, setting up your radio is pretty easy, especially with the ease of the the USB nowadays, 7300 and etc. Just use the one cable. So here you got to download the server, which is called ORB. And you're gonna have to open up some ports on your router, set up different settings, external devices. You're gonna have the virtual COM port for the emulation to connect your logbook, allowing users setting up your preferences for your radio, monitoring station activity is crucial. Okay.
Ready?
Yep. So just like before, this is where you download the server program. So it's called, like I said, it's called the ORB. On this one, you will want to pick newest release date, and they do update them very often. Good. So this is going to be setting up your radio and server. Pretty self-explanatory when we get into it, but it's not too bad. Go ahead. So there's 3 connections that you're gonna need for your radio and internet connection. First, you're gonna need a CAT control, CIV control, serial port, or 232, whatever you're using. The frequency control, mode control, filters, etc. The next connections you need are the audio connections to and from your radio. So if you're using a rig blaster or straight through like a 7300 or 7610 does, and you're going to be getting the, it's going to be set up reverse line. In is out, out is in. If you're doing it through the old school way. Some of the later models, it's easier to run with. It's pretty much about it.
Yeah, if it's got a USB connection, you probably got most everything you need.
Yeah, it's all set up. So on the next slide, next slide, you have to set up your port forwarding. This program requires 3 ports to be open. Mainly just 2. You're gonna need 4524 and 4525 open on your router. 843 is only used on older versions of the client software. So say Charlie is running version 6, he upgraded, and he tries to connect into mine. I would need the port 843 open for him to use it. Most times you can just get away with the 245 ports. Good. All right, get into the server configurations for it. Here you're gonna pick what type of radio you want to set up. You're gonna have a full remote radio, full control, or just a simplex. There's a lot of stations out in California that are set up on the repeaters. Or you could do a virtual remote where you're just going to be running it as a testing program. Good. Next one. All right, in the radio configuration, you're going to pick your COM ports and your radio driver selection. So like mine, I run the 7300, and you see address and all your COM port information. Make sure you click the RTS so users have the option, and they do it very legally, to shut your radio on and off, which is very nice. Yeah, next one. This slide you're going to be picking a PTT press. If you have it through a USB, you're going to run it through CAT or port 233. External CW keying, you want to enable that. So pick an external port that is not being used on your computer as a COM port. Next one. And this is your other device, where you pick your amplifier. For the amplifiers, they have ACOM, SPE experts, and the Elecraft KP5 and 1500. For the switching, antenna switch, you can do it a few different ways here. I run a RCS10 8-position switch, and I have that going through a Camtron 8 relay US board, which is hooked to the switch and out to the switch controller outside. And you also have your Rotor controller. They carry green herring, the DCU for Yaesu, and one other one.
ECU for high gain.
Oh, high gain. Yeah, no, high gain. The Yaesu rotors, and I think it's a SPID rotor that they carry right now.
How about Alpha SPID?
I think they have it.
Okay.
Sure. I know they don't have Yaesu, so next. be your audio set up. This is what takes a lot of time, and it's nice to have somebody on the other end out, because the RX settings can be a little touchy. So you know your RX, your mic level is going to be your audio in, and volume is your audio out. I don't want to have somebody into your into the when you're setting this up. It took quite a while to get, a couple hours to get it just right. Okay, next one. All right, this is going to be your server settings. When you get to this page, this is where you start your basic security settings. This is your first line of defense for anybody using your radio. You don't want to have them have it required to log in to tune your radio. If not, anybody can use it. Anybody can log into, try to access your remote. And if you have the guest not allowed checked, they automatically get kicked. And when you use a disconnect, if the radio is in transmit, it'll automatically turn it off for you. And auto restrict remote to club and TX administrator. That's another major one that is pretty much the club members and your administrators full access to everything.
Right, that makes it a restricted remote that only the club members that you have accepted can have TX privileges.
Right, and the administrators.
Yep. Okay. Next screen.
Yep. This here is where you're going to publish your remote. So you're going to name your remote. Mine's on the NC1CC club. And you put all your info. And towards the bottom, this is where you're going to want to put your info and your restrictions of your station. So mine, you can see that I have to put back to position 1, which is the grounded port. I don't allow digital work on my remote. And it shows the emulating the logbook. Up the top of the arrows are, this is where you're going to click to have the TX allowed by whoever, club mode, and privacy from second line of defense from anybody accessing your station that you don't need.
Next one.
Next one. All right. On the next screen, when you get that all set up, this is setting up that virtual COM port. Automatically, no matter what, you have to set it up for an Elecraft key. Even if you're running a Yaesu 101, doesn't matter. It has to be set as a K3 at 38.4 baud rate. And you're gonna want to pick a unused COM port. So you're gonna want to pick something up in the 20s or 30s as your port. Next one.
More security.
More security. This is your vital and the strongest defense you have for people messing your radios up. On this screen, under global security, you can set allowed TX and RX frequencies. You can block the frequencies you don't want. So as you can see, I have mine blocked for an 11-meter band. As you come down, you can allow what buttons you want the users to have. So if you just want them to have the TX button and auto tune button, that you get. Mine, I have, I think, all access. Drop down menus. For your TX meter, preamps, AGC, and filter control and modes. And anything else on every radio, it has a slider set up for your noise blanket, noise reduction, etc. One big thing on this page is if you only have one constant radio like I have, you want to disable the remote when thanks, Charlie. You disable the remote when your local radio activity is happening. So if you're on and you have your remote turned on, somebody comes on, it's not going to let them use it. All right, next one. All right, so when you start your server up, this is what you get. It shows you everything it's connecting to. So as you can see, it's connecting to the 7300. I'm emulating COM21. And this the big box, that's your main ones that you want to make sure you have that all port is open and connected to. That your switching and rotor is all connected to the program, and that the main one is your sound card connection. So when you get that all signed in, oh, yeah, the right one.
Ready?
Yeah, John. Yep. Yeah, there we go. So once you get the radio connected, you want to click on that club, the black club. This is where you're going to have people requesting permission from. You can have, I think right now I have close to 40 members that I have access to, give access to. And you'll be able to deny permission, give permission, let them know what they can do. Then permission for rotor control, amp control, and the switching if you want.
You can verify their license and allow them to transmit.
Yep, that's the big one. You want to verify that they are licensed. Okay, next one. This here is monitoring your remote. One good thing about this program, it logs every little thing somebody does on the remote.
Sorry, that was me again. Just a quick review.
Yeah. One more, there we go. So this is really the big thing. It logs the user's IP address. So if anything does happen or they do anything illegally, you have, you know, proof that they did it. So you can see this was me and Charlie going back and forth on my remote, and it lets you know somebody switched the antenna button, they disconnected, they turned the rotor, where they turned it to, what frequency, when they signed off, everything.
So while we're looking at this page, Don, how many years have you been running your remote?
This is going to be my 4th year.
How many problems have you had after you learned how to restrict your remote?
Only problems I have now is people not putting my antenna switch back to the first position, which really is not a big problem.
Yeah. Otherwise, you really don't have too much trouble. You don't have any problem at all.
No, not really at all.
Okay. Very good. Next slide.
Yep. All right. So why do I use this program? Like I stated, it's pretty simple once you get it set up. If you're going to be running it as a server, if you're going to be using it as a client, it's very simple. It's one program. You're not relying on any desk, a sound program, you know, Skype or whatever, and other rig control programs. It's all in one. So it's going to keep your CPU down, like we said, and it really works pretty seamlessly. Okay, next screen. Oh, that's the last one.
That's it.
That's it then. Any questions?
So who else in the club has a base station besides you and me sometimes?
In the club, Dave has one.
Who?
W2DAN.
Okay, Dan, yeah. Dave?
Who else? In the club? I'm not too sure. I think that's about it, actually. in the club.
Did NY1US get his running?
Oh, his is on, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when you want it.
So if you want to try the client side and log into one of these remote bases, you can contact one of us and
Yeah,
we'll get you hooked up to try it. And then if you want to then try the server on your own home RF base station and start your own little remote club, or use it for DXing, or allow your friend who's on vacation in on his cottage on off the Cape or on Nantucket, use your radio. I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities here.
Yeah, any Triple C member that wants to try it, just email me. I'll totally give permission.
Yep.
And what the other nice thing about this program, and I use the client side a lot for, is for propagation reports and to test your own signal. So it's kind of like your live RBN. You can actually hear what you're doing. So a few days before 160, I was listening in Italy and different remotes in Europe just to see what my 160 signal was doing right before the contest.
Same with my 40-meter stack tests that we were doing. Don hopped around to a bunch of different remotes just to listen to me and giving me signal reports and comparing those to what he was hearing and what I was hearing. It's a great resource. And Don, I appreciate you taking the time to prepare this presentation and also to present it, even though you're under the weather. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Any questions for Don? There's a hand up. Go ahead, Dennis. There's a thumbs up from Dennis too.
That's, the hand was the wrong one. It's a thumbs up.